Hi everyone, it's me, Makeup by the Numbers. Welcome to my channel. Today I have another review, a review that is long overdue, but story of my life. So I apologize for the dim lighting. Today is a stormy day in San Antonio, but today we are going to be going over the Kaja Lash Trio, also known as the Kaja Wink Lash, and it's quite an interesting product, so excited to get into that for you. The first thing that you'll notice is that it comes in 3 separate components. There's a light purple and 2 dark purple. Do not adjust your monitor settings. It is my camera making them look blue. I swear they're purple. It has a magnetic component, and personally, this is my favorite thing about them. They're clearly labeled. You have 1, 2, 3 on the top, 1, 2, 3 on the sides, and on the inside. So you know exactly which product is at any given time. You don't lose them and they don't roll around. This is normally Kaja is a little bit gimmicky, but this is definitely one of their more well thought out packagings. And they do have the tonal colors, so you don't accidentally grab clear when you want black, but if you want black, you will get the dark purple. For application, I think the clear one's a little bit difficult to work with because it is clear and you just can't quite see what you're doing. You know, if you're trying to do something root to tip and you don't know where it is, that might be a little bit challenging. And there's also 3 types of wands within each one. So they call it a puff, peanut, and a slim wand. So we have the traditional puff wand. We have the peanut. I call it an hourglass wand, but I think the peanut shape is cute. This is going to be number 2 of the trio. And then you have the slim wand, which is actually a little bit tapered, and it's more of a, well, you'll see it, but it's more of the rubbery spikes ones and less of the traditional soft bristles. And this one, it does have some give and some flexibility, which is important when you're using a stiff brush. And I, as you know, if you've seen my other reviews, I do prefer this type of applicator. I think it does the best at coating lashes individually and really lengthening, which is great because this is the lengthening tube. So I was really happy to see how thought out each of those products were. And of course, if you have a preference for one, you'll be sure to get it because they have all the different formulas in here. Overall, they're easy to apply. The viscosity is good, which is kind of a medium thick, but it's not chunky. And I think the wands are nice. I think the peanut shaped wand is a little bit bulky, but for the voluminizing aspect that they wanted, it's not that terrible. So overall, I'm kind of impressed with the packaging. I think they did a really nice job with it, and I'm happy just to have another thing to fidget with in the morning. This is just fantastic and fun. Moving on though to what we actually care about, which is the application process. I'm just going to talk about the clear one for a little bit because it is ostensibly a lash primer and brow serum. So you can take this, you can put it on your brows, and you can let it dry. The problem I have with it is it dries down and it's very stiff and it doesn't feel good throughout the day, and it kind of pills a little bit, like just a little bit. I don't know what it was supposed to do, but it's not going to give you all day hold. I don't typically use brow serum, so I just tried it once, maybe twice, and I wasn't impressed with it. And additionally, it's claiming to be a serum. Now, typically a serum contains some sort of vitamin or some sort of peptide to make it good for your skin, presumably to promote hair growth if it's a lash and primer, brow primer serum. However, you don't put this anywhere near your skin. You might get it on your lash root, but you're not actually applying it to the lash skin. It's not like, you're definitely not getting it there on your brows. So I think that's a little bit misleading. And then they say it's a brow serum gel, like gel's this consistency, but I feel like if they put the gel there, they're like, oh, well, it's not a serum, it's a serum gel, which is maybe how they're justifying it. I don't really love anything that isn't wholly honest that companies do. It's absolutely fine to say, you know, hey, this is voluminizing, and maybe I didn't find it that way, but that's fine. That's an opinion, right? But when you say it's a serum and it's not a serum, or it's not meant to be applied as such, and it's not going to give you those benefits that a serum has, it's like, well, what does serum mean to you? Because to me, it means different things. And it doesn't mean what you think it means, Kaja. So I'm not in love with that. Also, I did not think it worked great as a lash primer. So the issue I have, besides not being able to see where it is, which I already mentioned, is that it didn't really provide an even coat and it didn't provide a thick coat. So it would, your mascara wands with either the number 2 or the 3 set would catch on this and it wouldn't coat evenly, which is not ideal and not how our primers should function. And it did not lengthen. So I don't really know what it was supposed to do if it didn't have any sort of positive effect and it only had a negative effect. And I did use this several times on my lashes to try to make it work. In fact, I used all 3 of these in different orders, kind of going 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2, you know, the combination in the works, just to make sure, because they do say that it is customizable. They do say you don't have to go 1, 2, 3. In fact, on the Sephora's website, it actually says you should put the clear one on and then lengthen and then volumize, but then every other place it says the order printed and then the instructions don't say that. And it's honestly, it's just one of those little attention to detail things which really bother me that they didn't clarify that it is kind of like choose your own adventure mascara. But I never got the clear to work. So really it is up to kind of the black mascaras to make up for that deficit, which is great because the black mascaras are fantastic. So the 2 we have left are the lengthening and the thickening one. And I gave them both a voluminizing one. I gave them both a 6 in thickening, which is kind of like just above average, because they really didn't do that. I wasn't impressed with the voluminizing aspect of these wands, but they are very black. They have a very high opacity. The voluminizing one, I gave it 8, which is really black. It's not like strikingly black, but it's fully opaque, which I think is what we're getting at, which is good because if your clear isn't dried down some, you could accidentally reduce the opacity of your mascara. So it's good that it's fully opaque. And then the lengthening, I gave a 7 for. It's not that it's actually less opaque, but it just doesn't go on as thickly to give you that opacity. But they're both very good, very black. And then for the actual lengthening effect, I gave the lengthening one a 7, which is good but not great. And I gave the voluminizing one also a 7. I think it did just as good a job. So they're actually both voluminizing and they're both lengthening. And in fact, if anything, I felt like the voluminizing one might have been a little bit better at lengthening. So they're both very good, but they both have a very different wand, and the formula on the voluminizing one does want to go on a little bit thicker. Maybe it's just a little bit looser. Maybe it's the wand. I haven't really ironed that out, even though I've been wearing these several times. I can't quite figure out the best application for these products to get the most va-va-voom. But I can tell you that these are both very, very good, and it's probably going to come down to personal preference, whichever one you prefer. And even though I normally love lengthening, and I love lengthening, I love the wand and I love the formula, with this one I actually think just to get that extra thickness and blackness, that sounds weird, to get that effect from the mascara, I actually think I like the voluminizing one the best, which is kind of unusual for me, but it does speak to how good these mascaras are. They are well above average, but not great. I'm not singing their praises, and I'll keep going on a little bit more about that. So moving on to the texture and the application, as I alluded to, the voluminizing one is just a little bit thicker. It gives you that little bit better of a coat. So I gave it an 8 in viscosity. I gave the lengthening a 7. I really could have made them both 7.5s, to be honest. I think this is like the sweet spot of viscosity for mascara. This 7 to 8, thick but not clumpy or chewy. You don't want a mascara that's like rubbery, is fantastic. I think that's the sweet spot for mascara. I am not a fan of super runny mascaras, but I'm also not a fan of them super thick. And then moving on to flakiness. So flakiness, I gave a 5, and 5's not great. You know, for flaky, you definitely want that to be as low as possible. So I gave it kind of average, and that is because I didn't have big chunky flakes, but as the day wore on, I would have like little tiny black specks. So like small flakes, there's wear and tear. If you rub your eyes and you actually touch your lashes, that'll come off on your hand. I never really felt that it had the permanency that a lot of other brands have, and that a lot of other even drugstore brands have. So I really wasn't terribly impressed with the flakiness, but again, if you're looking at, you know, that initial application, I was pretty happy with it. Keep in mind though that I was only really able to put on one coat. No matter how many times I combined it or the different varieties that I used for this lash system, 2 coats did not work. It always made it clumpy, and it always increased the flakiness, and it always was uneven. I'm wearing it today, and I put on the lightest amount of step 3, and I think it looks best with a single thick even coat. I was a little disappointed in the layering. I was a lot disappointed in the layering of these because this is supposed to be a system. The mascaras should work together, and they don't. So I actually, I gave it a 7 for clumpiness, which is the last thing that I assessed for in the texture of it, because by themselves they weren't bad, but together it was kind of unmanageable. Moving on to scent, I gave them a 0 for scent. Mascaras aren't usually scented. I might be put off if it were scented because I'm like, why is my mascara scented? It's not. And as far as odor, I gave the clear a little bit of odor. I gave it a 3, which is like getting kind of bad, but not really noticeable, simply because it does have kind of an alcoholic smell. I say a lot of things have an alcoholic smell that don't have alcohol in it. I don't know what chemical it is that I'm smelling. Like, it's just bad enough that I go in to smell it again, but it's not good smelling the entire time. I don't know what it is, but it smells very chemically, almost like formaldehyde. The voluminizing and lengthening, I gave them a 1. They smell faintly of mascara. They smell like nice, good, fresh mascara. There's nothing wrong with these. They've been open several months, and I've had no issues with them. In fact, in the lengthening one, because it's a plastic wand, I can actually smell the wand more strongly than the mascara. So we're clear in that regard. I do really like that aspect of them. But I had to give them a little bit of a ding when I assessed for longevity. So I gave them an 8, and that is due purely to the flakiness. They don't stay on all day, and they don't go on quite evenly. So that was an issue that I had with them. For longevity, I was getting about 8 to 10 hours, which is really what I think you need out of just not a luxury brand. It also ran in the shower, and I know you guys are thinking, well, duh, it runs in the shower, but I have mascaras that do not run in the shower. I have tubing mascaras which do not run in the shower. I have regular mascaras which don't run if you don't get them directly wet. There are products that you can put on your face, and if you kind of massage your cheeks and don't get your mascara wet, your mascara will stay intact, which is, well, that's what you think would happen. And it did not matter if I was in a humid environment, like in the shower, even if I didn't wash my face directly. You know, I live in a very hot place, so I get sweaty or it's humid outside. It started to run a little bit. I started to get a little bit of, you know, that kind of black smudge in the corners from our eyes were watering. It's not good for that. So just be careful and mindful of the weather, or of your own, you know, body chemistry. If you tend to sweat on your face, some people don't really on their face, but just keep that in mind for, you know, kind of know what you want. It's available everywhere. I think it's sold at Sephora. It's $30 for the trio. You can get it at the Kaja site, Amazon, Macy's. You can obviously get it off YesStyle. These came with a lot of K-beauty brands. And you get 3 tubes, and each of these tubes is 7.5 grams or 1/4 of an ounce. So if you think about the fact that you're actually getting 3 products, that only comes out to $38.46 per ounce, which is actually a great price for a mascara. Now, based on my review and my assessment of the clear, I'm going to chuck it in the trash because it did nothing. It actually made it's the weakest link in the system. It made the 2 good products worse. So chuck it. But that being said, you still get 2 mascaras for $30, which is a still pretty good price. And this is a decent mascara. It's good. It's upper end. It's not, you know, luxury quality, but it's not luxury price tag. I do think these are good mascaras, but then they went and threw this in, and they made the whole trio gimmick. Well, they made it a gimmick instead of saying, hey, we're going to give you 3 good products that work well together. These products do not work well together, and that's super, super disappointing. So overall, I gave the product a 5. If they had sold these mascaras, chuck that one. If they had sold each of these mascaras separately, I would have given the whole system higher. I would have given it a 7 or even an 8 because they are black, they are thick, they are opaque, they are effective, and there are some minor weaknesses such as longevity, but nothing horrible. Some minor flakiness, but nothing horrible. There's some things that kept them from being perfect, but nothing that I couldn't overlook. But the minute they threw this in, they're making the whole system worse. As I said, sorry, I'm being repetitive, but also these two don't work well together, and they don't layer even on top of themselves. They are only used for one coat. So I wanted to love this. Well, I want to love all the makeup I buy, and I'll continue to use these dark purple colors. I'll continue to use the voluminizing and the lengthening mascara because they are good mascaras. And I'm almost done with my Cali Ray, which I need to review too, but I'm actually working on banning that one, so it'll be gone soon, and I'll get that one uploaded here. But the question, I always like to ask at the end of this is, would you rebuy it? No, absolutely not. Would you recommend it? No, because you can't get those two pieces separately. So thank you for watching. Subscribe. I get a review up right now. It's probably averaging every 2 weeks. It's super busy, so I haven't been doing that recently, but I promise I will get up more. Like I said, Cali Ray is coming up next. I have 3 foundations, another concealer. I don't know why I go through so much concealer, but I have another one to go through. I'm still working on my matrix for my eyeliner to review that, but it's gonna be busy coming up on Christmas because I'm getting ready to pan. Probably about 15 items right now for my end of the year review. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you later. And remember, beauty is on the inside. Bye.